Am I the a-hole for refusing to leave my friend's flat even though it disrespected his girlfriend's boundaries? Plus update. I, 24 female, moved abroad with my boyfriend after graduating university 18 months ago. One of my best friends from uni, Callum, 24 male, returned to start his PhD and is living in a shared accommodation block. I was visiting my family back home this weekend and had arranged a day to visit Callum and see my old uni town again, and then had planned to go to the airport from there, as it's way nearer than my hometown. Callum had offered me to crash on a blow-up mattress on his floor, and I very happily accepted rather than shell out on a hotel. When I got to Callum's place, he had invited his friends in the block to hang out, and I met his new girlfriend Hannah for the first time. They've been together a few months, but we hadn't had a chance to meet yet. I liked her loads at first, and thought she and Callum were super sweet together. I've known Callum for ages, and I'd never seen him this happy. When the group started to break up for the evening, she asked me where I was planning on staying for the night. I was surprised that she didn't know and told her what Callum had offered. She then took me outside and asked me to please stay somewhere else that night, as she felt uncomfortable with a female friend staying in his room. I didn't really have anywhere else to go, so I said that unless she could help me with a hotel room at this late stage, I couldn't really go anywhere. She then said that I was disrespecting her boundaries with her boyfriend, and that in any case, now she was going to stay with Callum, and it would be inappropriate for me to be there. She lives in a neighboring block, so I asked her why she couldn't just return there. And she said she had a right to decide which women get to share her boyfriend's room, especially if it's an old female friend who I don't know if she's had history with him. To be clear, there was no history there at all on either side, and I told her this, but she said she had no way of knowing if I was telling the truth. Again, I refused to leave. We had arranged this ages ago, and she couldn't just undo that last minute unilaterally just because she was his girlfriend. And with that, I went back inside and we said nothing more on it. I stayed the night on the blow-up mattress and left really early this morning. I'm at work now and just got a text from Callum asking if we could call this evening, because he just got a text from Hannah saying that I disrespected her boundaries and that he needs to cut me off. He's one of my closest friends and I don't want to lose him, so I'm wondering if I should apologize. My boyfriend thinks that this is ridiculous and if anyone needs to apologize, it's her, but at this point I'm not sure. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole. This was pre-arranged, and it's not your fault that he didn't tell her/clear it with her. She could have offered you her apartment if she wanted to stay with her boyfriend and her room was going to be empty. Also, he could have gone to stay with her if she had such an issue. It boils down to the fact that he did not communicate this to her. It's not your issue to deal with. Be honest with your friend when he calls. His girlfriend has probably not told him the full story. I think the even bigger point is that Hannah didn't communicate with Callum. Why was she the one to take Opie aside and ask about the sleeping arrangements? That's a conversation Hannah should have had with Callum, and, if he thought it necessary, Callum should have conveyed to Opie. Not the a-hole. You've got nothing to apologize for. You didn't hide anything and were transparent. If Callum didn't tell Hannah because he knew she would react badly, that's his issue. It's a pretty big red flag that Hannah's already trying to control who Callum interacts with. And if he starts cutting off people she doesn't like, I suspect even his family will soon be on the cut-off list. Hopefully someone will manage to get through to him and Hannah will be sent on her way. Yeah, and has she even said something now? It sounds like all Callum has heard is disrespected boundaries but no details, which is super weird. I mean, of course Hannah's entitled to have her boundaries respected in a relationship, but the person to talk to about that is her boyfriend. As in, hey, it makes me uncomfortable if you have female friends sleeping over in your room. Can we agree not to do that? Opie, I would just give a basic explanation when you talk to Callum later. Something like, hey, I'm sorry if there was some kind of misunderstanding. Hannah came to me last night and said she didn't want me staying in your room, but it was way too late to find a hotel at that point. So I told her I couldn't. That's it. $10 says he'll be surprised because she was making it out to be some much larger thing. Not the a-hole. Now for the update. Thank you to everyone who commented. I read it all. Quick clarification. The offer was never to share his bed. It was always the blow-up mattress. That's our own boundary. The building has no communal area other than a lobby, so I couldn't have slept there. Callum and I called, and I did what a lot of you said. 1. Not apologize, and 2. Just lay it out exactly as it happened. I even read from my post. The big surprise? He had told her in advance, and she had said it was okay. As I commented, I had assumed that they had discussed it on the night, but my later guess was correct. She had said nothing. He then said that when Hannah texted telling him to cut me off, he told her that he wanted to talk to me first about what happened, and then she ghosted him. He apologized profusely to me and said that he needed to talk to her ASAP. A girlfriend of Callum's friend, Sarah, who was there, messaged me after we called because she read this post and thought it was me. She told me that she's in a group chat with some others at Hannah, who had been ranting about how I had taken her outside to tell her that even if she was Callum's new girlfriend, I was his real girl, because I was his best girlfriend, and that she shouldn't think about coming between us, and that I told her that Callum might be hers now, but he'll always be my Callum? Sarah then told me that this happened twice before, where Hannah's told Callum that a girl he was friends with needed to be cut off, and she would then tell the group chat they had said things like, "You're no good for him, we'd be better together," etc. Sarah now suspected Hannah was making all this up. So I called Callum again and told him what Sarah had said, and he was very upset. Most of the time, Hannah hadn't really given him a reason to cut off these other girls. Just that if he respected her, he'd trust that these girls needed to be cut off because it's girl code. He talked to Hannah in person this morning, and she confessed that she made it all up, about me and about the other girls. She didn't want other girls to even be an option for him to be close to if they were going to be in a relationship. So she persuaded Callum into breaking off the friendships. And he didn't want to lose her, so he complied. Her words? "I wanted to save you from the opportunity to put another woman above me." He's not had a great experience with previous girlfriends being really emotionally distant, and I think Hannah was the opposite, in that she would lavish him with affection when he did things she wanted. Not surprisingly, he broke up with her, and has now apologized to the other girls and again to me. So, to summarize, Hannah was manipulating and lying to everyone around her in order to keep Callum away from basically any woman. Callum found out. They broke up. We're friends again, and he owes me a drink next time we're in the same country. It always speaks volumes when your partner tries to isolate you from your friends and support. More people need to listen to the deafening warning in between the lines. It's the most common form of domestic violence, and also by far the most common form used on men by women. And it's so normalized that it's joked about regularly. There was an attempt in the UK a few years ago to make it fall under the same laws as other DV laws, but it quietly vanished as more men came forwards talking about suffering that style of DV. She would lavish him with affection when he did things she wanted. Classic control tactic / love bombing too. I feel bad for Callum. Dude needs to learn that emotional distance and manipulation are not the only two romantic options. Yikes, yikes, yikes. Hannah's behavior is just worrying, and only after a few months. Aside from attempting to isolate Callum from friends, she seems jealous and insecure. The kind of person who believes men and women can never be friends. The lying about what was said just takes the cake. Drama queen. Did you pick up the love bombing too? She would lavish him with affection when he did things she wanted? Also, you can see the subtle narcissistic vibes in "save you from the opportunity to put another woman above me." Save you, as in you need me to make a decision for you cause you need saving. Next story. Update. Am I the a-hole for throwing away my girlfriend's dad best friend's t-shirt? Original post. I know it sounds bad, but hear me out. I have been with my girlfriend for a couple years and we live together. My girlfriend lost her best friend of 10 years her senior year of college. They had gone through a lot together, but the best friend had some untreated mental health issues and she lost the fight against her depression. My girlfriend was the one who found her. They lived together at a time. This caused my girlfriend to spiral. She wound up helping the parents go through her stuff. She now has a box of old journals that were her best friends. They had a pact that if one dies, they wouldn't let anyone else read them. Too embarrassing or something. A t-shirt, some art she had done, and a bunch of scrapbooks. My girlfriend was in a dark place for a long time. I met her a couple years after the incident and it's taken time, but she has gotten better. She was and is in counseling for grief and other stuff. She used to talk about a friend constantly, but now it's down to every once in a while. Now, generally when I clean, I take stuff and put it in a bag and tell her to go through it before I throw it out. Today, I was going through our closet and was making donate/throwaway piles. I asked her to go through it when I was done, but she had a lot of work and said it was probably fine. She generally doesn't care too much about her clothes, and I think she was overwhelmed. Well, I threw out the stuff that was worn and old, ripped, etc. Then after I showered, my girlfriend came yelling at me demanding to know where the t-shirt is. I asked her what t-shirt, and she said the one belonging to her dead best friend. I asked if she lost it, and she said no, it was in the closet. So then I said it might have gotten thrown out, and she just started screaming at me. I said I asked her to go through the piles, but she said no. But then she said that it should have never been in the piles, given how much she has talked about a friend and that apparently she told me the story behind the t-shirt. I don't recall it. I knew there was a story and I knew there was a t-shirt, but I never paid enough attention to which shirt. Well, she has now taken the bag to her brother's. I just don't get why she is so upset. She has all of these other things to remember her friend by. A t-shirt isn't that big of a deal. Now for the top comments before reading the update. Yordi A. Hall. I was on your side thinking you just honestly effed up with no ill intent until I got to your last two sentences. Yep, I was thinking exactly the same. Possibly honest mistake until you make clear that you don't even understand why your girlfriend is upset. You're the a-hole for not taking your girlfriend's own words about her own feelings seriously. Once I read that she apparently slept in the shirt all the time and he still thought it was okay to throw it away, I started to doubt it was an accident. Even if she didn't have an emotional connection to that shirt, why would you throw away your girlfriend sleeps in all the time unless it was damaged? And even then, why wouldn't he check with his girlfriend about that specific shirt? I don't believe that he didn't know what the shirt was. You're the a-hole. You went through the closet today while she was working, while she was busy and overwhelmed, and you wanted her to double-check the pile. This happened today, and your girlfriend informed you today that the shirt was missing. Did you go look in the bags? Did you attempt to find a shirt? You have made it clear you do not care about the shirt. In the years you have been dating her, you never noticed which shirt it was. You never paid attention to what she was sharing with you. A t-shirt isn't a big deal to you because you don't care. It is a big deal to her. Go find a shirt. This. He could have at least given her the weekend before tossing or donating on Monday. Who the heck does something like this and expects someone to drop everything to check within 24 hours on a weekday? And now he's being dismissive about it? You're the a-hole. Update. So with my last post, I figured I owed you guys an update. I had apologized at the time, but I didn't think I effed up that badly. At this point though, some of this stuff felt excessive. I was the one going through our shared closet because we have been doing an overall deep clean of the apartment. As far as getting rid of her stuff, I was only throwing out stuff that was clearly ripped. She was aware this was happening. I did try to get the shirt back. By the time I got out there, the trash had been picked up. I called the company, but they said it was gone. After reading some comments, I called the best friend's parents. My girlfriend still goes over around the holidays, and briefly explained what happened. They said that over the past year they have been downsizing, and they went through her stuff and half got donated, but the other half was sitting in her sister's attic in a box if I wanted to ask her. I called the sister, told her what happened, and asked if there was anything she would be willing to let my girlfriend have. She said she has a couple sorority shirts that she would be willing to give her, and apparently the friend had 2 necklaces and she would be willing to give my girlfriend one. I said that would be great. I talked to my girlfriend and let her know where to send it. I drove to the brother's house to talk to my girlfriend. When I got there, I hadn't even gotten out of my car before her youngest brother and cousin came out and just started screaming at me. Her cousin said I had no right to have any opinion about a best friend, that she was some amazing person and I had been so disrespectful about her. He then said that if her best friend were still alive, she would have talked my girlfriend into dumping me years ago. I felt that was uncalled for. Her brother started telling me to go to hell, and that I was always jealous of the best friend, and that I need to get off his property. I tried to explain I was here to fix it, but he wouldn't even let me see my girlfriend. Apparently, she is in a rough shape and had to take days off work because she is having some kind of meltdown. So I left. I got home and I got a call from the sister. I picked up. And I don't know what my girlfriend told her, but she laid into me and said I was some unforgivable a-hole stumping all over her sister's memory. She said she would be more than happy to send my girlfriend the items we talked about, but to her brother or grandmother's house since I can't be trusted. A couple hours later, I got a text from her saying it's over and she's breaking up with me. Her brothers came by an hour later to get her stuff, and she is now refusing to take any of my calls. So for those who hoped she would dump me, you got your wish. I couldn't imagine breaking up with her over this, especially since we were together almost 3 years, and she can't even answer her phone to dump me. I remember this post. The OP has deleted his post and comments, but if you read the original post, you can see he had commented that his ex-girlfriend slept in that shirt a lot, so he definitely knew which one it was, and it was not a mistake. He complained that she talked about her friend a great deal, and he didn't like it. That's important context that completely changes my view of OP. Even the story from his perspective makes him sound like a monumental idiot. Honestly, it sounds like the t-shirt thing was the last straw for her. It seems like her family had disliked you for quite some time, based on UOP, which was written from your perspective, so presumably is the most flattering version of this story for you. You don't sound very considerate of her feelings. I'm also not convinced that you're telling the whole story here. I get your ex having visceral reaction to something so sensitive, and even her brother and cousin trying to be overprotective. The friend's sister's reaction suggests that you left something out of the story when you called her, and I'm betting you left it here as well. Well, breakups suck. You live and you learn, I guess. Edit. Actually, your story doesn't ever make sense. You say that you were throwing out anything that was old and ripped, but you threw out a shirt that she wore on a regular basis. Why would you throw out something that you know she actively uses? Why do you feel the need to purge her clothes at all? You sound very controlling. Opie responds to the comments further down that he thinks his girlfriend was obsessive and made her take down 6 pictures she had up in the house of her friend. He seems like he's leaving out a pretty insistent campaign of forcing his girlfriend to get rid of various reminders of her friend. Update. Am I the a-hole for considering calling off my wedding because my fiancé refuses to sign a prenup after I found out she has a massive credit card debt? Original post. I am just a middle-aged man supposed to be getting married in a few months to my fiancé. We've been together for 3 years, engaged for 1, and for most of that time, I genuinely believed we were on the same page about life values and, most importantly, honesty. For background, I've worked hard to build a stable financial foundation. I'm not wealthy, but I own my home outright, have no personal debt, and I've been saving and investing since my early 20s. It's been a priority for me, especially since my parents went through a nasty divorce that ruined both of them financially. Months ago, while we were discussing wedding costs, I brought up a prenup. Not in a cold or controlling way, I just wanted to protect the life I've worked hard to build. I was upfront that I'd still be fair, and the agreement wouldn't leave her with nothing. I expected an adult conversation. Instead, she immediately got defensive. She said things like, "So you're already planning for a divorce?" And "I thought we trusted each other." I tried to explain it wasn't about trust. It was about transparency and mutual protection. But she shut it down completely. That's when red flags started popping up. She became evasive every time money came up, and I started noticing weird things. Credit card offers in the mail, a few missed payments on shared expenses she said she'd cover, and lots of "I'll handle it later" energy. So I asked directly if she had debt. She admitted it, $92,000 in credit card debt. Not student loans, not a mortgage. Credit cards. She said it accumulated over the years from unexpected expenses and a few dumb splurges. But she never told me about any of it until I forced the issue. I was stunned. We're about to merge lives. This woman was about to legally become my spouse, and she didn't think I deserved to know she was 6 figures in the red? I told her this made the prenup non-negotiable for me. I need to protect myself, not just emotionally, but financially. I told her I was willing to still move forward, but not without something in writing that protects my premarital assets. She lost it, called me selfish, said I was turning love into a business deal, said my house and money should be hers too, if we're truly a team. Since then, she's refused to talk about the prenup again, and we're barely speaking. Even her mother called me and accused me of humiliating her daughter and being materialistic. All I want is to not be liable for debt I didn't create, and to make sure the life I built before this relationship is protected. So now I'm seriously reconsidering the whole wedding, not because she has debt, but because she hid it, then refused to take responsibility, and now is treating me like the bad guy for trying to protect myself. I'm almost certain that she could pay her debt since she is a part partner in her friend's business, but she just refuses to. Am I the a-hole for thinking about walking away? Now for the top comments before reading the update. $92,000 in credit card debt. Not student loans, not a mortgage, credit cards. $5,000 or $10,000 is a few dumb splurges. I can't begin to fathom $92,000 in credit card debt. Not the a-hole. You're dodging a bullet. She will destroy you. Not the a-hole. You're definitely doing the right thing. It is a huge red flag, and credit card debt meant it could get even up if she spends money all the time she doesn't have. And the thing is, she has the ability to pay all of these since she's earning passively from her friend's venture. I don't know where her income went. If she was hiding this from you, she likely was hiding more things, and that includes where the money went. Now for the update. So I wasn't planning to come back, but a lot of people messaged me, and honestly, it's been a hell of a few days. Figured I'd give an update. So yeah, the wedding is officially off. After I posted, I tried one more time to talk to my fiancé, well, ex now. I told her I wasn't trying to be cold or controlling, I just needed to protect myself. I also said that if the roles were reversed, I'd completely understand if she wanted to do the same. I told her I could still move forward with a wedding if we signed a fair prenup. One that clearly said her debt is hers, and my home or savings are mine if things go bad. I also said I'd go to therapy or counseling with her if this felt like a deeper trust issue. She didn't take it well, said again that the prenup was an insult, and I was basically planning for divorce. Then she started crying and said I was humiliating her and that I was destroying everything we had built over money. But that's the thing, it's not just about the money. It's about the fact that she kept a massive amount of debt hidden until she had no choice but to tell me. And even then, she only told me because I pushed for it. That's not partnership, that's avoidance. So I told her I couldn't go through with it. I called off the wedding. It sucked. It still sucks. We told the venue, canceled what we could, and let people know. Her family is furious. Mine has been supportive but trying not to say I told you so. I've lost a lot of money. Deposits, suit, some family flying in from out of state. But honestly, that's nothing compared to what could have happened if I had ignored my gut. She moved out 2 days ago. We've barely spoken. I keep second-guessing myself, even now. I didn't want this, but I also don't want to wake up one day in financial ruin, wondering why I ignored every red flag just to avoid hurting someone. Anyway, thanks to everyone who gave advice or just listened. I'm heartbroken, yeah, but I feel like I did the right thing. Doesn't make it easy. Just necessary. Not the a-hole. I'm glad you found out before you got married, and I'm more glad you didn't push on purely because you love her. She showed you clearly she cannot be trusted and finds no fault in lying to you. That all she was actually wanting was for you to be liable for her debts, and for her to get her hands on your savings so she can keep spending. Without respect, trust, and love, there can be no marriage. As hard as it is, she couldn't have loved you if she was happy to lie and trap you with her debt. I'm just glad you brought up the prenup, or you might never have discovered the truth. Yeah, for me, trust is the most fundamental thing in marriage. That's why I chose to let go. Dude, you did not throw away love for money. She did, and did that lightning fast. If you really want to know how she felt about you, this alone tells it all. She's clearly the one who wanted it to be a business transaction and got upset that it won't be happening. Wish OP had called her out on that, but oh well, at least it's over. You're materialistic. You're making everything about money, says the person with almost $100,000 of credit card debts, who wants OP's house and share of his savings. Of course her family is upset. There goes their meal ticket too. Or at least there goes their fears of ending up having to pay off her debt themselves one day. 'Cause you know who she's gonna turn to when the debt collectors come knocking. To be fair to her family, it must be hard realizing that they have raised someone who is a liar, a deceiver, entirely self-interested, and financially incontinent. Much easier to blame the OP than blame his ex, or themselves. The fact that he implied she had the wherewithal to financially cover her debts, but chose to hide them until marriage, is a red flag if ever I saw one. So she was happy to con her soon-to-be husband into paying her debt, or she has been lying about how well she does from her and her friend's business venture. I'm glad he was able to get out with only some losses from the vendors, but I wonder what the "I told you so" from family members was all about. What else was wrong with this woman? I knew a woman who married a friend of my rat bastard of a then-husband too soon after a whirlwind courtship. During their honeymoon, he revealed that he had massive soul-crushing debt, and that now half of it was hers. I don't think the marriage lasted a year. Next story. Am I the a-hole for breaking up with my boyfriend after he skinny dipped in our pool with my sister at home? Hello Reddit. My boyfriend 31 male was home with my sister 19 female while I was out. When I got home, my sister was locked in the guest room and told me she had something to tell me. She had been staying over for a couple of days. She said that she looked out her room window and saw my boyfriend swimming naked in our backyard pool. She saw everything. Later, while she was in the kitchen, he walked in completely naked and she could see his junk. He stopped, said hi, and waved. She was shocked as he walked past her, went to his room to grab some clothes, and then walked naked through the hallway to the shower and had a long shower. She said she was frozen and embarrassed. After that, she went to her room and locked herself in until I got home. I confronted my boyfriend, and he just said that he felt like skinny dipping because it was hot out and that he lives there. So he thought it was fine. It's my house and he's living with me, and I told him he's a freaking creep. He didn't even apologize to my sister when she saw him. I broke up with him on the spot and told him to get the heck out. He said he could apologize now and that I shouldn't overreact, but I told him we are done. He wouldn't leave immediately, so I screamed in his face that I'd call my sister's boyfriend over and we'd see what he freaking does to him when he hears what happened. That's when he left. I made my sister promise me that next time she feels uncomfortable, she should tell me, her boyfriend, or someone right away. I told his friend what happened, and word spread. Now everyone thinks he's a freaking weirdo, and they stopped talking to him. He blew up my phone, and I just texted him that his actions have consequences. I told my sister's boyfriend, and he threatened my ex, saying he better not freaking go near him or my sister or he'd find out. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. It was more than just skinny dipping since he walked through the house naked. Even when he saw your sister, he didn't cover up or apologize. He knew exactly what he was doing. Don't forget, he stopped on his way to his room to greet her. Yeah, he definitely planned this. He's only angry because not only did it not work the way he wanted, but OP rightly broke up with him, and no one else wants to be around him. If some of his former friends have younger female relatives, sisters, cousins, etc., I wouldn't be surprised if one of the first things they did was find out if he acted inappropriately toward them. Sadly, I have a feeling he has. And if that's the case, the ex won't just have the sister's boyfriend to worry about. Not the a-hole. Doesn't sound like he skinny dips usually. Too much of a coincidence. The first time he felt like skinny dipping, your teenage sister was home, and you weren't. The pool could be accidental. But the walking around in the house in front of her? Pervert. He barely even uses our pool, and I've legit never seen him skinny dipping before. And he told me he did it before. I just didn't see or wasn't there. And I don't believe him, and I told him to GTFO. He was obviously trying to live out a porn scene fantasy. Good for you for getting rid of him, and showing your sister that you have her back. Also, good job warning others about his creepy actions. You may have helped someone else avoid something uncomfortable. Totally agree with you. The whole thing feels intentional, not some innocent mistake. OP did the right thing shutting it down and standing by her sister. More people need to take that kind of thing seriously. Last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to give my boyfriend children because he won't marry me? My boyfriend, 33 male, and I, 31 female, have been dating for 7 years. Early on, we talked about marriage, kids, a house, the whole shebang. I like kids, and I think I'd be a good mother. I'd like to have children, but I wouldn't be upset if I didn't have any. I'm happy with my life as it is, and I could be happy with children as well. My boyfriend has always dreamed of being a dad, and recently suggested that we're in the place to start trying for some. I was a little confused by this. I told him early on, within the first year, that I would never have children with a man I'm not married to. I feel like children are a much bigger commitment than marriage, so marriage should come first. Additionally, if a man doesn't love me and isn't committed enough to spending the rest of our lives together, I don't see why I would make the sacrifice of bearing his children. Maybe it's old-fashioned of me. I explained all of this to him once again. He was awkward and said he just doesn't want to get married. He said men get screwed over in divorces all the time, and he just doesn't think marriage is important or a smart choice. I said that's fine. We don't have to get married. I'm happy with our life as it is. We just won't be buying a house together or having children together. We can each buy our own house and live in one and rent out the other. If we aren't getting married, I don't want to really entangle our finances in any way. He blew up at me and said, I'm punishing him for not wanting to marry me. I said I'm not, just that having children outside of marriage goes against my personal values. I also told him that since he's super against the idea of marriage, I am not going to marry him just for a shut-up ring, that he only gives me because he wants kids. I want him to actually want to marry me, and if not, that's okay. Children and marriage are off the table for us. If he wants kids now, he needs to leave me and find someone who will have kids for him without expecting any stability in return. And maybe I could find someone who wants to marry me and maybe or maybe not have kids. I said all of this to him. He's been very distressed and emotionally distraught. He has a disease that very much limits his life expectancy. He has said that if he doesn't have kids ASAP, he probably shouldn't have them at all, because otherwise he wouldn't be able to see them into adulthood. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. If he thinks men get screwed over in divorce, he should see how single women get screwed over with children. Please get some sort of birth control that cannot be tampered with. This. Women often end up being the primary caregivers after a divorce. But even if the couple agrees on joint custody, it's super common for a mother to have sacrificed years of her career to having and raising the children, which affects her finances and earning potential, not to mention all of the medical risks of pregnancy and the permanent physical changes. If he's not willing to take any risks with his finances, then it's completely unfair of him to expect you to risk both your finances and your health. He also has a disease that could potentially end his life earlier than usual, according to OP. So she gets to carry on his line without the commitment or legal stability and deal with pretty much being a single mom anyways because of his death. All the more reason to insist on marriage. If she's not his legal spouse, who makes his medical decisions if incapacitated? Is his mother going to inherit his share of the house and they get in a big legal battle to keep her kid's childhood home? Nah. Not the a-hole. He said men get screwed over in divorces all the time, and he just doesn't think marriage is important or a smart choice. Explain how women get screwed over all the time, having babies with men who won't commit. And you don't think having a baby with him would be a smart choice either. I was thinking the same exact thing. It's laughable that men get screwed over in divorce all the time. The number 1 or 2 most impoverished groups in America are single mothers. Some men love the idea of having children. They just don't seem to love the idea of actually raising them, paying for them, and loving them for 18 plus years. By screwed over, does he mean forced to pay their fair share for the children they bring into this world and the lost income of their partners that grow a goddamn human being for them? Jesus, what a complete sense of entitlement. To expect a woman to risk her career, her health, and possibly her life to grow and deliver a human for you, without offering an ounce of stability or commitment. Maybe if he offered a legal and binding financial agreement, including paying for a reasonable life insurance policy, as well as a predetermined custodial agreement. I wouldn't think he's such a tool. His limited life expectancy makes the whole thing worse. I guess he will also expect her to be committed enough to care for him if his health declines as a result of his illness too. But no, marriage is too much of a commitment for him. It's fine if people want to partner and share life without a legal commitment, but screw any man that just likes the idea of using a woman as his personal human incubator, like she's a 7-Eleven. Update. My boss just reacted to my message asking for a raise with, haha. Original post. I posted here a while ago asking if having a salary of $13,000 a month in local currency, about $224 USD as a software developer, was enough. I'm a graduating student, and this company hired me after my internship. When I accepted the role, I expected to do the same tasks I did during my internship, so I thought the pay was fair. But then they assigned me more complex tasks, like creating a payroll system, which required studying thousands of lines of code, hundreds of tables, and understanding the entire process from scratch. Keep in mind, it's just me and my senior on the team. I took it as a challenge and slowly started to enjoy it, but now I feel like the minimum salary isn't enough since I'm handling multiple projects, and my responsibilities have significantly increased. Today I finally got the courage to message my boss and ask if a raise was possible. I was polite, simply asking if it could be considered, and explaining why I felt I deserved it. She just reacted with a haha, and even sent a smiling face with heart eyes emoji. I don't know if it was sarcastic, but I was only asking a simple yes or no question. I didn't even mention a specific amount. Now I feel like I'm being treated unfairly. As much as I want to leave immediately, I still need the income. But this experience has really motivated me to start looking for another job as soon as possible. Now for the top advice before reading the update. Your boss is deflecting the conversation at hand. $13K, as you're already aware, is too low, especially as starting salary. Immediately drop your job as your priority in life and prioritize getting a job that knows your worth. I didn't see it that way, but that makes sense. And yeah, I know it's way too low, haha. I can't leave immediately since I'm still studying and supporting myself, but I'm already applying for other jobs. Just looking for a company that accepts graduating students. Start applying for backup options. If you get accepted or receive multiple offers, present them to your boss and see if they can match them. If not, you're ready to move on since you already have a standing offer. Make sure you have leverage. That was actually my initial plan, to secure an offer before asking for a raise, since I still enjoy the work and the setup I have here. But I just wanted to take a shot at asking tonight. I guess her response was a sign that I should walk away once I find a backup. It's kind of sad, because I really love my work here despite the low salary. Thank you for the advice. Bad idea. Even if your company matches the offer, do not accept it. Leave and move on. If you stay, they will eventually fire you. It's very unprofessional to tell your company that you have another offer and that you'll only stay if they match it. Your boss and HR are not kids. They are cunning. This isn't a game. I was a fresh graduate, and a company once offered me $15,000 to basically be their entire IT department. This was almost 8 years ago. Luckily, I had a friend with experience who advised me to look elsewhere. $13K is laughable considering the workload they've assigned you. Yeah, that's what others told me too, when I posted on a subreddit last time. Thanks for slapping me with reality again. I'm feeling motivated to start applying again tonight. Now for the update. Thank you all for the advice and for giving me a reality check. Here's an update on my situation. I waited 2 days for a proper response from my boss, but I guess her initial reaction was her answer. Regardless, I had already planned to resign and was just looking for another job to transition into. Just a day after posting this, I was able to quickly land an international client from an online job, who is paying me 4 times my monthly salary. The task seems easier than my usual work, at least in theory, but I still have some concerns since the tools are new to me and different from what I'm used to. However, I believe we grow the most from challenges that scare us, and stepping out of our comfort zone is where real learning happens. So thanks for motivating me to apply. As soon as I secured the deal, I immediately submitted my resignation. My boss later replied, apologizing for the late response and saying she was actually considering my request. She could have mentioned that when I first asked, instead of just reacting with a haha and an emoji though. She then asked if I could at least work reduced hours, since many of their clients had started with me. That honestly made me smile, because suddenly she saw my worth. Yet, when I initially asked for a raise, it seemed like I wasn't even worth a simple response, not even a short yes or no. Unfortunately, I didn't do what some of you suggested, reacting to her message with haha or replying with just a crying emoji. Instead, I told her that I had already made up my mind. I kept it polite because I didn't want to burn any bridges, as I still appreciate the experience I gained from the company. Thank you all for helping me realize my worth. I've learned my lesson, and I will never go through that again. Last time an employer did that to me, I found a new job in 2 weeks, and when I gave notice, he claimed I blindsided him. Happy for you, man. Oh no, how could this be? My employee blindsided me with a resignation just a few weeks after I ignored their request for a raise. Surely it's not about money, right? They just lack loyalty and resilience. This is definitely not my fault. Some bosses, really. So proud of what you did. That's the right approach. Keep it professional. Even though what your boss did was unprofessional, just reacting with a haha to your message. And now, only when you have a better offer does she suddenly see your worth. Good luck on your new job, OP. Thank you. Kill him with kindness, I guess. Congratulations! Are you still going to work on your notice period, bro? Surprisingly, they're not asking me to keep working. I just told them I would hand over the files and work I have, and I'm good to go. I also don't have a contract, so I don't think I'm obligated to. Second story. Update. Me, 39 female, with my 44 male depressed colleague, accused me of bullying him. Original post. I manage a team of 12 people, and last year, a 13th member was added when other managers refused to deal with him any longer. He has been diagnosed with depression and generalized anxiety disorder. He is morbidly obese and suffers from musculoskeletal problems related to obesity and diabetes. When they assigned him to me, it was because I had successfully helped other employees with mental health challenges. I was happy to take him on, believing I could support him. We made some progress, steadily increasing his level of work. While his performance never reached an acceptable standard, I made accommodations to relieve pressure, hoping this would lead to sustained long-term improvement. I also arranged for ergonomic equipment to help him be more physically comfortable due to his obesity. I genuinely felt we were making progress. Unfortunately, he committed a serious security breach by sending out personal information to someone who was not legally entitled to have it. As a result, I had to place him on formal disciplinary action. Since then, he has been on sick leave for over 3 months. He is now subject to attendance management procedures and has reached out to a local mental health group, claiming that I have bullied and harassed him. According to him, this has made it impossible for him to return to work. I have documented evidence proving that this is not true. When he was informed that he needed to be moved away from me for health and safety reasons, he became very distressed and insisted on staying under my supervision for mental health reasons. I also have signed documentation where he states that I am supportive and that he does not want the reasonable accommodations I have offered, such as shorter work days, fewer work days, and longer breaks. I now have a meeting with him and his support workers from the mental health group, and I have no idea how to handle it. How do I approach this? I can prove that he is lying, and I know he has a pattern of lying to get himself out of trouble. I am not worried about my bosses, as they are well aware that this is an utterly unfounded allegation. My main concern is that he is completely unsuited for the job, and because he refuses to acknowledge any responsibility for his mistakes, it is impossible to correct his performance. Now for the top advice before reading the crazy update. Let HR handle it. I have spoken with our internal HR, but they are terrified that any accusations of bullying someone with mental health problems could be problematic since it's a hot topic at the moment. I have referred him for internal counseling, and he has repeatedly confirmed that he has taken up this service. My concern is that this meeting is not an internal one. It is with representatives from a mental health advocacy group. I don't know how to respectfully state that he is lying without sounding like a bully. To be clear, his lies aren't malicious, and I don't believe this one is either. He says things to solve an immediate problem. In this case, he needs to justify his extended sick leave, and admitting it is due to his own actions is too overwhelming. So instead, I am being bullied, shifts the responsibility away from him. The reality is that he has control over his situation, but he is so used to portraying himself as a victim that he refuses to acknowledge the truth. Judging from your explanation, it sounds like you have an understanding and empathetic attitude toward this person and the situation. That attitude, along with the documentation you have regarding the accommodations you've offered, should go a long way in your defense. What exactly is he accusing you of? I'm not a professional in this area, but I have extensive experience working with people with mental health challenges in social work/education settings. He believes that by pointing out his security breach and substandard level of work, I have bullied him. He doesn't deny that he made the mistakes. His claim is that expecting him to improve is a form of bullying and harassment. I have made significant allowances for him. Other employees are expected to handle approximately 16 cases per day, accurately. I told him I would be happy with just 2 cases per day if he did them correctly. Unfortunately, he is unable to complete even 2 cases without mistakes. Despite allowing him to work at a much slower pace, he believes that he should be given the same margin of error as someone handling 16 cases. Because I expect him to complete 2 cases with 0 errors, while others handling 16 cases have some allowance for minor mistakes, he feels that he is being unfairly targeted. Now for the update. The meeting went ahead as planned, and thanks to the wonderful advice and tips from those who kindly responded, I was calm and felt prepared. Boy, was I wrong. My colleague and his support worker were both present, and the meeting started off well. I asked how he was doing, what steps he was taking to prepare for his return to work, etc., and nothing unexpected came up. As arranged, I brought up the allegations of bullying and asked for specific examples to help me understand what was happening. After worrying myself sick about this, his answer was actually quite disappointing. He provided no examples, only vague explanations about how his anxiety made him overreact to other people's conversations, making him feel like he was being picked on. I advised him, with my boss backing me up, that there was literally nothing I could do about that. I patiently explained that I could not ban people from talking, and I was not going to sit in silence just to ensure he never heard anything he didn't like. My boss also emphasized that his poor performance needed to be addressed, as that was part of my job, and that doing so in no way constituted harassment. His support worker agreed, and we had a brief discussion about how I could communicate with him more effectively. To be honest, nothing they suggested was particularly helpful, but I agreed to be mindful of his condition moving forward. Then things got weird. I asked if there was anything I could do to help him transition back into work. This usually involves a phased return, switching to part-time hours, etc., but not this time. As I was talking, he started taking paperwork out of a folder, and I should have realized something was up when his support worker sighed deeply and slumped down in his chair. My colleague requested that he be allowed to bring an emotional support animal to work with him, namely, a support cat. We're in the UK, and this is not the norm, so I was a bit surprised. He hadn't settled on a breed yet, but was torn between an Abyssinian or a Siamese. I thought that pointing out some obvious difficulties with this idea might make him realize how inappropriate it was. For example, I reminded him that we already have a guide dog in the building for a partially sighted colleague. His name is Rufus, and he is by far the most popular being in the office, the dog, not the human. I explained that introducing a cat might cause issues. He responded by telling me that it was illegal to discriminate by favoring one disability over another, and that if a blind person could have a guide dog, then a depressed person should be allowed to have a cat. I moved on from this clearly idiotic point and asked how a cat would react to being placed in a pet carrier twice a day to travel to and from work. He confidently replied that he would train the cat. At this point, my boss became very agitated and demanded, "How the heck do you train a cat?" Not to be deterred, my colleague stated that in the worst-case scenario, he would leave the cat at work overnight and only take it home on weekends. I asked how he intended to handle cleaning the litter box, considering his serious weight issues made bending down difficult. He proudly presented me with a spreadsheet he had created, complete with a team rotation for feeding the cat and cleaning up after it. He had even costed out the expenses for food, insurance, and the actual cost of the cat. The spreadsheet included an expected donation from each team member based on how he perceived their financial circumstances. I was expected to contribute the most since I am single, earn more, and have no dependent children. The spreadsheet was quite impressive, color-coded and everything. I politely said no. He then insisted that the company should pay for the cat, arguing that it would be a legitimate business expense to accommodate his disability. At this point, I realized my boss was still muttering, "How the heck do you train a cat?" while the support worker was shaking his head and quietly saying, "I told you not to do this." So, I made a unilateral decision on behalf of the company and firmly stated that we would not be buying any cats, nor would we be cleaning up after any cats, because we would not be permitting any cats on the premises. He was not happy. He complained that I was making it impossible for him to return to work. My boss, breaking free from his cat training tangent, decided that we had gone as far as we could for the time being and ended the meeting. As we were leaving, he made a point of telling the support worker, "There will be no bloody cats." The support worker nodded and agreed that this was entirely fair. I didn't hear anything for a week or so, then received another 4-week sick note from him. Per company procedure, I called to check in on how he was doing. He was still very upset about my discriminatory anti-cat stance and informed me that he would be taking it further. 2 weeks later, I received a letter from what initially appeared to be a local solicitor's office. It informed me that I was being sued for breaking disability discrimination laws. However, upon closer examination, the letterhead had been altered to include his home phone number and personal mobile. The address was also incorrect. It wasn't the solicitor's office at all. I'm not sure whose address he used, but it certainly wasn't legitimate. I handed it to my boss, who had also received a letter, and both were forwarded to our legal department. I was advised to have no further contact with him. Shortly afterward, the legal team confirmed that his contract had been terminated with immediate effect. I am honestly stunned at how this all played out. I half expected him to be let go due to excessive absences and his unwillingness to improve his performance, but I never imagined it would end like this. It's both hilarious and sad. Thank you so much to everyone who helped me prepare for the meeting. Your advice and support meant the world to me. I love how far removed from reality this guy is. I'll bring a cat as a support animal. How are you going to clean up after it? Or feed it? You guys are going to do it. Yeah, no. And buy the cat as a business expense. And a purebred cat, no less. Do you know how much those specific breeds of cats can cost? At least $2,500, depending on the breeder and the cat's lineage. Breeding cats is no joke, and that's just the starting figure. I love how this guy specifically wanted a purebred cat. Not just any cat, but an Abyssinian or a Siamese. This guy is Delulu. Also, those breeds are noisy AF. Let's just say they make their presence known loudly. Sounds perfect for a quiet office setting. Side note, I'm a vet tech, which is why I know about cat prices. One of my cats is a ragdoll from a breeder. She flunked out and wasn't up to snuff for the breeder to use in their line, but they didn't realize that until she was almost a year old. They didn't want to just sell or give her to just anyone. So I ended up with her free of charge, but I saw the pricing for what she would have sold for. Yikes. I can't stop laughing at the boss who got so caught up on a training a cat tangent and just zoned out. He's now forging letters from lawyers. This is serious misconduct. We need to let him go. Okay, whatever. But how the hell do you train a cat?
Update. My aunt tried to have me arrested. I'm still in shock. Original story. 4 nights ago, I-21 male went over aunt's house to do some work in their garage around the back of the house. I literally didn't hear any of the things that went down. I had my earphones on and also loud machine. My cousin 27 male came home high off his butt, I guess, but he got crazy. He usually does when he is on something hard. They started fighting and he got violent and loud. My aunt's friend was there at the house too, so she saw everything. My cousin was hitting his own mom, and he locked her in the bathroom just for the heck of it. Around then, her friend took off to her house to call the cops. They got there, and by the time I was leaving the garage, they were already talking to my aunt. I only walked to the front because I saw the cop car outside. Then she freaking told the cops I did that to her. Then they were asking me questions. Meanwhile, my aunt is freaking crying and accusing me of getting violent. I'm panicking and stuff, so that starts making me seem guilty, and I'm messing up everything I say. Stuttering even. By the way, my cousin took off before they even came, so it wasn't like he was there anymore. These cops are straight up getting ready to take me in. The only thing that saved me was my aunt's friend who came back, and she confirmed it wasn't me, but my cousin instead. I don't know how much longer we were there with the cops, but it felt like forever. And by the time they left, my hands were still shaking. But man, I just felt the betrayal too from my aunt. She tried to have me arrested to cover her own craphead son just after I freaking beat her and locked her in the bathroom. I'm so mad. My mom is pissed off at her, so are her other sisters. But they're trying to set us up to talk again to clear things up. But what is there to clear up? She tried to ruin my life just because she messed up as a mother. My family's thinking we should make up, and I don't think they're gonna let this go. What should I do? Edit. My mom's the only one on my side, by the way. She supports if I never want to see my aunt again. The rest of my family is on wanting us to make up already and move on. Now for the top advice before reading the update. Do not forgive and do not forget. Make it clear that you're done with her, for good. Someone who will pull something like that is literally dangerous to you. Explain this to your mother, and make it very clear that it isn't something fixable, and lay it out that you feel like she's prioritizing someone who lied about something so serious over her victim. It might also be worth contacting the police and seeing if you can pursue her for filing a false report. Lucky my mom, the only one who says she could be dead to me if that's what I want. It's everyone else who are saying we should make up, since she was just panicking in the moment. Freaking bullcrap. This is them making you a list of who you no longer need to have in your life. Tell them to do one then. Add them to the dead to me list with your aunt. I cut every single person off that supported my falsely accusing ex without ever saying a word to them. And I can say it's made a single dent in my life. Only room for better people to take their place. Can you file charges for a false police report? I don't know how that works, since your friend was the one who called the cops and said what my cousin was doing. My aunt just lied about who. But lied by implicating you. I'm not sure how you would do that, but maybe someone else will know. If she had succeeded, she could have really ruined your life. I'd start by not volunteering to do work at your aunt's house anymore, and follow that up by open avoidance of her in the future. She can decline to prosecute her son for his actions, but attempting to push them onto you is a hard no. This is no contact territory. Whether he's charged or not is completely out of his mom's hands. The DA decides who to prosecute or not prosecute. They may decide to go ahead with it regardless of how she feels. He violated his parole anyways, so he's likely getting locked back up again regardless, I think. And now for the update. So, seems like my family decided to escalate things a few days ago. I was tricked into coming to my cousin's house, different cousin, to play video games, and my aunt was there with everyone else. They wanted us to talk privately, but I said to hell with that. They really tried to freaking ambush me into talking to her that I couldn't with them. The only thing I told my aunt is that she is dead to me, and that I've given myself time to think about this. And to not ever try to talk to me again because she could have wrecked my whole life with her lies. Job, school, everything. That crap would follow me forever. After I left, I told everybody else that was there I'm not talking to them either. And now they're getting a lot of crap from my mom and my grandma. I agree with you guys that now going no contact is the only way they'll leave me alone. At least till they never push it again. But I'm officially done with her. It stings still, to be honest. Never thought someone in my family would go that low to get me arrested over something I didn't do and ruin my whole life. Doesn't matter if it was to protect her own kid. He's a freaking piece of turd addict. And I'm glad he's getting locked up again anyway, since he violated his parole doing that. She did all of that for nothing in the end. I know some people kept saying to press charges on her for making a false police report or whatever it's called, but to be honest, I don't want to deal with that drama anymore. Don't want to waste my energy on a situation that already drained me so much. Still, thanks for the advice and for listening. I'm so sorry your piece of crap family did this to you. Now you know the ones that you can trust are your mom and grandma. Keep them close and ban everyone else. Can't believe it either. They're not the ones who almost got taken by the cops and have that on record to follow them around all their lives. I know, it's horrific. I don't know what race you are, but all I can think of is what if you had been black and the police hadn't believed your neighbor at all and arrested you anyway? You'd have ended up behind bars for something you didn't do. Happens all the time. If you're able to take legal action against the aunt for the false accusation, I would personally. Whatever you decide, I hope you take care and find a way to heal from this massive betrayal from your family. We're white, but trust me, I know high chances it would have been a totally different story. I'd just rather not get involved more at this point. I want to forget about it. As someone who had a false accusation chase her out of an entire career, I'm here to tell you you're doing the right thing. Thanks. You think it better that I'm just not part of that at all. Can't forgive her for what she tried to do to me. Consider suing her. Seriously. The false report she filed is a crime in and of itself, and could screw you over. I know you said you don't want to deal with it anymore, but your future is kind of on the line here. Think of it this way. Your aunt enables her addict son by doing what she does, including what she did to you, and you'll be enabling her behavior by not making sure she faces consequences and getting your record clean again. Not really. Cops already know it was my cousin, and he's been arrested. Next story is titled, Update. My mom stole $6,000 from me, claiming I owe it to her. Original story. She's 50 female and I'm 17 female. She lost her job in March of this year and was behind on rent/bills. So without asking me or telling me, she just emptied my bank account. I'm a minor in the US. When I confronted her, she told me I owed it to her for her struggles raising me as a single parent. The thing is, I'm headed to college in a month, and that money was my living expense for the entire year. It was money I had earned through competitions and awards. Not to mention, she isn't contributing a penny towards my education. And after paying for tuition, I now no longer have any way to support myself without a loan. Not to mention I already contributed around $2,500 in rent over the past few months that she was laid off, and she has around $45,000 in her own savings account. She had no reason to withdraw from mine. Of course, she isn't paying me back. Never does, even though she claims she will. No one seems to be taking me seriously. I called family, the police station, etc., but everyone is just dismissing me for being overdramatic. I feel so hurt and betrayed by her actions. She has a history of being very verbally/physically abusive, but this is just unfathomable. I can't rationalize how my own mother could steal from me. How do I deal with these emotions? I'm so lost and I can't think. Added to add, I also can't set up my own account until I'm 18, so even if I do earn any money, I know exactly where it's going to go for the fall and most of the spring semester. Now for the top advice before reading the update. Well, when you haven't spoken to her in 10 years, she'll have no one to blame but herself. I'm guessing this is just the tip of the iceberg? Just a tip, but I think it's the straw that broke the camel's back. You need to lock down your credit ASAP. This exactly. My mother did pretty much the exact same thing. The minute I turned 18, she opened multiple credit cards with my social security number and racked up $6,000 in debt. I had to pay it off myself because I needed better credit for an apartment and she wouldn't do it fast enough. It's screwed. You're going to college, right? You may have to open your own student checking account. Go to your college to talk about this. Unfortunately, you also need to have your mails sent to you instead of the address you share with your mother. As a parent, I'm mortified that your mother did this to you. I'm so sorry. I looked at student checking accounts, but until I'm 18, my mom has to co-sign and can withdraw funds. I would recommend talking to your local bank manager as well. I opened my first checking account when I was 16, without a co-signer/adult, because my mom was similar, through US Bank. I had money put into a saving account growing up and never actually saw it. When I got my first job, I refused to use the same savings account. I didn't trust my mom having access to it. I think they can approve it at their own discretion. Thank you so much. This gives me hope. I'll visit my local Chase at US Bank tomorrow to see if they can make an exception. And now for the update. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to everyone who took the time to read my post and give me advice. There were too many comments to respond to, but I did read everyone, and my heart goes out to those who shared similar stories. A lot has happened in the past few days. The day after I posted, my mom broke the lock in my bedroom door and accused me of planning unspeakable things to her in conjunction with my professor. Which is not only false, but so laughably outlandish that I finally called my university as many here suggested. Their police department got me out the same day and put me in a temporary shelter for 2 days before moving me temporarily to university dorms. My mom did put up a fight while I was leaving and accused me of being a night worker. She claimed evidence of my illegal activities could be found on my computer, iPad, and phone. all currently in police custody. I did give the police permission to look through my devices and even gave them my passwords to everything, but the relentless daily interrogations have really worn me down. Thankfully, my university gave me a loaner laptop so I'm able to resume classes. I also found out that I won a scholarship I had applied for a while back and will be receiving a check worth $10,000 in the next week. Until I find permanent housing, I plan to put a hold on my mail so my mom can't get her hands on that money. Thank you so much to everyone who so graciously offered to donate, but it looks like I will now be able to afford all my tuition with a little left over. Of course, I still miss my mom, and it takes everything in me not to respond to the emails she sends me asking if I'm safe and telling me she loves me. I'm trying to stay strong through it all, but I know deep down I did the right thing. There's still a lot that I have to figure out, like opening my bank account with no access to any official documents or a phone, but I'm hoping to iron out those kinks within the next month or so, and I'll post an update again when my situation is more stable. Now for the last story. My 33 female twin sister has cost me my best friend 3 times, and now I want her out of my life at my wedding. We often have dramas, but I'll tell you of 3. The first time I can remember her doing this was when we were 17. Me and my best friend Beth had just discovered that her father, the local cop, was cheating on his wife. We caught him red-handed, and Beth asked me not to say anything until she decided whether or not to tell her mother. Later that night, I was dropping off other friends after the drama and returning home. Beth was waiting for me at my house with my sister, but I didn't know, and my sister called me, not warning me she had me on speaker. My sister said that Beth's father, the cop, had just pulled her over and fined her for a fake traffic offense. I thought my sister was still in the car, but she was at home. The cop likely did this because of what we discovered. I told her, fine. If he wants to play that game, we will expose what we know. I don't know why I said it. I never would betray Beth, and I never intended to tell anyone. And my best friend was gutted, and eventually defriended me because of what I said. My sister never apologized for not telling me I was on speaker. She's done this several times since, but back to the main story. The second best friend I lost happened when we were 25. My best friend Kate and I were on a single girls trip because her long-term boyfriend of 8 years had recently dumped her, and I was trying to get away for a weekend to unwind. We went to a rodeo, and I had arranged to stay at my sister's on the way. We get to my sister's to discover that Kate's ex was at my sister's house. She lives in a town 4 hours away, and I was shocked. We had essentially walked into an ambush. I was horrified and offered to take Kate to a hotel instead, but she tried to brave the situation. My sister lied and said that she told me she had invited Kate's ex to stay, and I swear in my life that isn't true. It was an extremely awkward night, and we hid in the spare room all night. Kate, still heartbroken from the breakup, asked me if there was anything going on between her ex and my sister, and I swore, truthfully, that I had no idea they even talked, let alone that he would be here. But honestly said I did not believe anything was going on between them. Long story short, there was, and my sister ended up marrying him. The ordeal prompted my friend to literally move to the other side of the country. The most recent happened yesterday. At 33, my sister called me from a different town, asking me if rumors about my friend Lily cheating on her husband with a guy called Troy are true. The incident happened years ago. Yes, she did cheat, but it wasn't with Troy. It was with someone else. I kept Lily's secret for years, and before I responded to my sister's questions, I literally asked, am I on speaker? Who else can hear? Etc, etc. She told me she swore it would go no further. She just wanted to know because she had suspicions about Lily and her friend's husband. Despite my alarm bells, I told her Lily's secret, trusting it would stay between sisters. It didn't. My sister spread it, and now Lily and the guy she slept with have been attacking me. Believe me, I accept it I'm guilt-ridden over my share of the blame in all of these stories. But I've also hit a point of not wanting my sister in my life, and not wanting her in my own wedding coming up. Kate and I are still close, and I want Kate to be my maid of honor, not my twin sister. This has broken my mother's heart, but I feel like I can't trust her, that she's toxic and I don't want drama between her and Kate at my wedding. My mother just cried, and I don't know what to do. With enough time, I probably would get over it. But I've never been this serious before. Please tell me your thoughts. Why do you keep selling out your friends for her? Your sister did not cause you to lose your friend a third time. You did. You were untrustworthy and silly. But if you want to improve, stop blaming others and recognize your weakness. You know your sister is a vile snake, but you still keep getting trapped by her. The only incident that isn't your fault is when your sister got together with Kate's ex. Your sister didn't make you say what you said about Beth's dad. If you're going to be complicit in covering up your friend's affair, that means telling no one until after it has already gone public and they've split from the partner that they've cheated on. By all means, don't invite your sister to your wedding and cut her off. But you come across just as toxic and addicted to drama as she is. This comment is brutal, but absolutely spot on. Sorry, Opie. I think maybe the reason you don't want your sister in your life is because she holds up a mirror. 1. Learn to keep a secret. It's not a secret anymore if you tell someone else. 2. Pick your associations better. Your sister has a bad moral character. Why would you trust her after what she did to Kate? And why are you even friends with Lily, who is a cheater and out that burden on you to keep a secret? She can go deal with her own consequences.